Again, in your table of contents, this is 4.4a, rounding whole numbers and decimals. This is the second page to last week's journal that we somehow missed. On the front cover, it says that we are rounding whole numbers and decimals. This is used for estimating sums and differences. Does everybody see that on their front cover?
Yes, ma'am.
We use rounding, whole numbers and decimals for estimating sums and differences. Okay? Rule number 1, 5 or greater. We are going to round up by how many?
5.
1.
Wait.
Okay? You're going to round that digit up one more. The second rule, 4 or less, we're going to let it rest. So it will stay the same. Open it up. We went through all of this process with our just rounding activity that we did last week. I don't know where to put them. Okay? We underline the digit being rounded. We look at the digit to the right and we circled them last week. Okay? So we circle the digit to the right. The digit to the right tells us what we are going to do. Again, you refer back to the rules on the front. 5 or more, raise the score. 4 or less, let it rest. So what are we going to do to 7? Okay. That's fine. We can staple it right here.
Then they'll just have to turn
Flip. Yep, that'll work. Okay, so 3 is less than 5, right?
Yes.
So we are going to let it rest. I gotta get that. Gotta put down somewhere. Okay, so in step 1, we're underlining this digit because it is asking us to round to the nearest hundreds, right?
Yes.
Step 2, we are circling this digit because it is to the right of the 7. 3 is less than 5. And it says if 5 or greater, add 1, right?
Yes, ma'am.
To the digit being rounded. This is less than 5, so we're going to let it rest. Step 3 is to change all the digits to the right of the rounding digit to 0. So the answer for this particular example is 736. We'll round to 700. All of that is a review from last week. This week we're going to be looking at decimals. Okay? So we need to learn how to round those decimals just like we did last week in rounding whole numbers. Okay? Let's get a good definition in our journal for rounding. It is a process that determines which multiple, again, we're looking at place values, of 10, 100, 1,000, and on through the place value chart, a number is closest to. For those of you that are finished, an estimate, or when we estimate, we give an approximate value. Rather than an exact answer. Our goal is to do the rounding before we do the math. Okay? A lot of people are trying to do the rounding after they get their answer, and that defeats the whole purpose of an estimate. The purpose of an estimate is to get quick math, and the quickest math around is math that ends in zeros, right? Everybody agree with that?
Yes.
The quickest, easiest math is math that ends in zeros. So if we're adding or subtracting a number and then rounding it, have we made the math easier?
No. Yes. No. Wait, no.
No. The way to make it easier is to round it first, then add or subtract. Okay, let's look at the example of rounding decimals. This says round 6 and 352 thousandths to the nearest tenth. So again, we're looking at place value, and we're looking at the tenths digit, which is the first digit after the decimal. So we are going to underline the rounding place, and we are going to circle the one next to it. Okay? The rule, if it's 5 or greater, add 1, right? This number is actually equal to 5, so we are going to drop the digits to the right. Everybody see that? Step 3, we're going to drop the digits to the right because they would actually change to zeros, and in decimals we don't need them after that, right? So the answer, what is this going to change to if we're adding 1? A 4. So the answer is 6.4, and we drop the digits to the right. Okay? Thumbs up if that makes sense to you. Okay? When we are estimating, this is where mental math can come in really nicely as we learn to estimate. Okay? We can say that this is approximately what? No.
700.
We're going to round to the nearest hundred, so we're going to underline the 2, circle the 3. The 3 tells us what to do with the 2.
Let it rest.
Let it rest, so it becomes
200.
200. Underline the 4, circle the 7,
Make the 4 a 5.
make the 4 a 5, so we get
About 700.
500. When we add 200 and 500, we get
About 700.
approximately 700.
700.
Okay, you have your 4 glue dots to attach this to your journal. Who said they didn't have glue?